Welcome to the Attainment Podcast, Julia.
Thanks so much, David.
Yeah, great. It's funny. I heard about you from my friend in San Francisco, and both of us live here in the Greater Toronto area. So what you did there with the content creation went viral. It's being picked up by my friends in the Bay Area, which is really amazing. I'm not that active on LinkedIn or social as I used to be, so but my friends definitely saw it. They suggested that I get you on the podcast because you have an interesting story.
Except to share it.
Awesome. Even myself, I'm a bit more of a senior marketing professional, but I thought there could be a lot that anybody at any level could learn from you. And not only marketers, but also founders or business leaders or salespeople or venture capitalists, whoever's listening. This podcast is for like a wide range of people. It's sort of a generalist growth related topics that we cover. And that's the direction that a lot of stuff is heading to that table from the CMO report 2024. What CMOs are looking for, number one is generalist, right? And number two, social, and then events. So I think the future is, I think CMOs want marketers who know a little bit about everything, and then to like dive deep into it and like execute. I think the thinking is that we'll get AI to do that stuff. So that's why I think there's a big demand for generalists. There's not a big demand for interns, or is there?
I feel like, yeah, maybe not so much, but I also feel like interns can provide so much more value as well, just because with interns, they're just coming out of school, they have so much energy. So I actually think companies should really leverage more, like, bring more younger people in, just because they're going to be the ones who, new generations, right? They're on social media, they know what's happening best. They're always online, online almost. So I think it's important for companies to really.
Yeah, that's a great point. And that's probably what Shopify saw in you. However, Shopify, you told me they don't normally hire social media interns.
Yeah, they don't. It's only engineers, only data. And so, yeah, which is why I was like not initially going to even apply, just because, I didn't see the open door. I mean, I had some time and I really wanted to give it a shot.
And on top of that, Shopify also, I think around the time that you threw your hat in there, their CEO had put out a memo advising their workforce that before hiring somebody, you have to prove that AI can do it. So they must have done it for you. Somebody had to prove to somebody else that, hey, what Julia is doing, we can't get an AI to do it.
Yeah, no, exactly. And which is, so I saw that memo too. And I think in the memo, they also mentioned how I think it's really important to, have the AI as almost your collaborative partner. And I've recently been trying to implement a lot more collaboration with AI with my work. Like you have ideas to share, and AI can almost help you formulate them in a better way. And I think it's just using AI as your co-founder, your partner.
Yeah, he's like an employee.
Yeah.
And just like an employee, you have to like coach it, give it good instructions, give it feedback.
You need to learn how to properly, you actually, the challenge with that is learning how to properly ask, how to ask the right questions. How can you train it to help you the best way?
Yeah, people call it prompt engineering. I always thought that was a bit of a overhyped term.
Yeah.
Because really what it is managing a person.
Yeah, just learning how to,
That's how I see it. If you're good at talking to people, managing people.
Writing too. That's why writing is so much more important. It's so important. It's a very, I feel underrated kind of skill, communication. Yeah, so people communication degrees, they're still good. They're, a lot of people feel underhype them a lot of times, but I think you can learn a lot from taking
That's an interesting point, because maybe communication professionals might make a comeback. Actually, I used to work in a company that predicted the impact of AI on the workforce 5, 10, 15 years in the future. And the top skill that our model predicted in the next decade and beyond is communication. Communication, especially video communication, getting in front of a camera and talking to people, and also audio as well, but communication, in person, live, real human communication. That is one of the most top skills in the future.
Learn public speaking, learn how to just better communicate, and how to articulate your thoughts, how to
So the way Shopify, I guess, changed their mind, or the way you managed to convince them, I think you put together a nice video outlining your journey and why you really want to work in there. We'll probably insert a clip of it in here. We'll just edit that in. But if you can talk about the video, what was your thought process in creating it? What was what did you talk about in that video that made Shopify think, yeah, we're gonna make an exception here, and we're gonna hire our first social media intern.
Yeah, so yeah, I'm going to talk about the process. So pretty much, this was like kind of like I was creating this room for one more series on just on LinkedIn and Twitter, and I was pretty much just asking companies if they could hire me. There's like room for one more, and with Shopify, I put the most effort into the video. I made sure to really, focus on the storytelling and to almost share my life story, which is a really big thing with Shopify. They're all about life stories. They call their interviews life story interviews. So they have technical interviews, and then after the technical interview, they go into life story, because they don't just want to know about your technical skills. They want to learn about you outside of your school and your, specialized. Like, this is where generalists come into play. Like, you have your specialized skills, but what else can you do, like, outside of that? So life story. So I kind of made sure to format that almost like telling my life story. I started creating content at like 10, and I pretty much like showed a little side project there, and then I gave some other projects I was working on. And what really fit with Shopify is a lot of my projects focused on amplifying entrepreneur, builder, student voices with a podcast, with interviews. So they saw that I already kind of really fit their values with focusing on your passions, the unconventional route, and dreaming big. And so I feel like they saw that energy. And I was able to tell it well in the video. And I think also because I made sure to align my video with their brand, with their whole like vision and their creative, like just everything. I found the inspo on their website, on their main homepage website, and I watched that video and I pretty much replicated a lot of their stuff on there. So yeah, their resemblance was there.
Interesting. Shopify seems to be like really ahead of the curve in like the way they hire. That's very interesting. What's your life story? What are your technical skills? But what's your story? Who are you? We want to get to know you. Interesting. And I heard at Shopify they have this concept of craft. What is your craft?
Okay, yeah.
Like everybody has a craft.
Yes. I think I actually don't. I don't think maybe I've read about it, but I think it really does make sense, just because of like what do you love to? Because with their commerce, like Shopify's a commerce platform, right? So it's really like honing in on your craft and what do you love the most, just because you're gonna, like, if you enjoy something, like, you're gonna go far in life. Like, if you choose something you enjoy, you're gonna go far in life. Like, the people that are gonna be ahead of the game are the people that are truly like, passion, right? It's passion over money almost. Like, those people who truly care about what they do.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Got me thinking maybe this is the way of hiring in the future. Past year or so, I've heard from a lot of people who were looking for new opportunities or were in the job market, and it's been very, very tough last year for everyone. In the US, LinkedIn did a survey, and the US is the world's best economy. And right now, their economy is pretty good on the outside. But it takes on average it takes most people more than 6 months to find a job. Yeah. And I think I think one of the reasons why it's gotten so much harder is everyone's using AI to apply on their job applications. AI generated resume. And because everyone's using AI, everyone can pump out a lot of resumes. So now the companies, their HR departments, are getting flooded with too many resumes. They can't see them all. They can't possibly read them all. They would have to have an AI. Maybe they use AI to filter them out, but you don't really get through to them, right? So yeah, I think the way Shopify is doing things, I think, is really ahead of the curve. But okay, so you made the video, and then how did you distribute it? Like, how did the people who needed to see it see it?
Yeah, so I posted the video on LinkedIn, and then I decided to post it on like Twitter, on X too. Before that, I was actually not super active on Twitter. A lot of the Shopify audience, a lot of the Shopify leaders, they're on Twitter. They're always posting on there. They're always kind of updating their audience on there. So I was like, that could be really good. And I just noticed so many people posting on Twitter. And I saw the engagement on Twitter is really good too. So I posted on there as well. I posted on YouTube. So pretty much I just posted like everywhere I could think of, even like Reddit. Posted on there, and I also sent it to like some people as well as a technical recruiter. I sent the video to her, and so she was able to pass the video along as well. But I think even if I didn't send that video internally, I think it would have still caught people's attention like in public, just because in public, posting in public is the best way to go.
Nice.
Yeah.
Where did it go viral the most?
On X.
On X? Interesting.
Yeah.
Shopify people use X a lot.
Yeah, it seems like they do. Yeah.
Interesting. That actually makes sense because I don't see a lot of Shopify people on LinkedIn.
Yeah, it's definitely like now my whole feed is like filled with Shopify employees. But before that, I mostly saw them on X.
Interesting. And for those that don't know, Shopify is actually Canada's biggest company,
Yes.
or second biggest.
I didn't know that before.
They're in terms of valuation in the
Yeah.
stock market, they're neck and neck with RBC. Sometimes RBC's first,
Yes.
and RBC, for those who don't know, is Canada's largest bank.
Yeah.
You would think there would be a lot of Shopify people all over LinkedIn because Canada's biggest company, but I don't see them. So they're on X. Interesting. See, this is the fact that Shopify is Canada's biggest company is also why these insights from you are a big deal, because this worked on Canada's biggest company. Usually very large companies are a bit hard to get into.
Which is so shocking because when I was posting when I posted like 2 other videos. I posted a room for one more for Adobe and Microsoft, and I didn't get any responses from them. But I was actually, after posting those videos, I started getting responses from like startups. So a lot of startups, they really do enjoy that energy, and I feel like I thought I would have had more of a chance with startups, but it looks like it's still possible.
Interesting. Well, Shopify seems to be a very forward-looking company.
Yes. I was gonna say they actually have, what I love about Shopify is they have a startup mindset operating on a large scale. They're always changing, they're moving fast. So they're like they're already like, they've been here for a very long time, but they still have that baby kind of startup mindset, which is so cool.
Interesting. Yeah, well, from what you're telling me about the way they hire, they definitely seem to be forward-thinking. Who was the person that hired you? Like, who's your boss?
So I'm going to be working with Brennan. He was actually the first marketing intern.
Okay.
Yeah, I was the second one. He was the first one. And so he was the one who flagged my video to Toby, the CEO.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
And he was like, let's take a gamble on the solo marketing intern. She could be, kind of cracking this student entrepreneur audience. That's what I'll be kind of doing. I'll be focusing on the student entrepreneurs and also working on the social media brand. So I'll be working alongside Brendan and also Christine Cassis. She is the director of social. So I'll be working with their team. So I think with my role, it's super flexible. I'll be able to collaborate with so many departments, which I'm excited about.
Awesome. And who was the second person again? She leads their social media?
Yeah. Social media,
Okay.
Christine director of, So, which is so amazing because I'll be able to work, because, I feel like a lot of, when you're working at a company, a lot of the times your supervisor is usually someone who's because the directors are usually, VPs are really busy, right? So usually it's the one ahead of you, so a specialist or something. But with this, I'll have the chance to work with the top leaders, and that's the best because I'll be able to get so much insight and mentoring from them. So it's gonna be fun.
Nice. Yeah. Fantastic. And how did, what's his name, Brennan?
Yeah.
Where did he see your video?
He saw my video on X.
On X.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's when he reached out to you?
He didn't reach out to me. So I was, he just sent the video on Slack, but then I was working, my recruiter was Ali, she's a technical recruiter. She was actually she did the interview with me, I was communicating with her, she was kind of the one, and she was actually told me that, if no one's gonna hire her for social media or something, she could just work for me. But I love Ali so much. She's so amazing. So she was
interesting. So you did these two things at the same time. You put your hat in there, but there wasn't a job that you were applying for.
So there was no job. So, and actually, some of my friends, they motivated me to to pitch myself. They're just to riz them up. The term that is really just convince them to give a role for you. That's why I really had to try extra hard. with this because
What's the expression used, raise them up? Is that a Gen Z?
yeah.
Okay. Well, this is another reason why I wanted you on the podcast, so I can stay up to date with what's hip with Gen Z. Because you guys are the future, so we got to stay up to date. Interesting. Okay, so our audience is pretty broad audience, but for those people who are looking for new opportunities and they really want to join a certain company, and there's no job opening, and that happens a lot. I just want to help them understand the process a bit better. So you did the video, it went viral, and then you just emailed HR at Shopify, even though there was no job opening, and just pitch yourself.
So I didn't have to do any of that. I just posted the video, and then the COO, Kaz, he was like, "You're hired. My DMs are open. Message me, and I'll find you an internship." He DM'd me. He messaged me, and then he DM'd another one. He's like, "Oh, if you didn't see that message, just send me an email." So they ended up chasing me. I just put myself out there. That's the thing. We spend so much time trying to chase these opportunities. Just follow your passion so hard. Show your passion to the world, and then opportunities will just come to you. You don't have to do that's all you do. Just work on yourself, and then everything else will fall into place.
Interesting. And you've been doing this, you said, since you were 10 years old?
Yeah.
Interesting. What have you been doing throughout those years?
Yeah. So a lot of my beginning content was pretty much just focused on sharing my hobbies at that age. So one of my hobbies was playing with these little pet shop toys, and another hobby was video games. So I filmed me playing this video game, and then gymnastics. So I was pretty much just practicing, just documenting all of these little hobbies that I had. I've never really had this specific niche though, which another thing why I feel a lot of people are nervous to share, just because they think they don't have value in their content. But value doesn't just come from what you can teach. Value comes from sharing your passion and staying curious and learning things. You show the world you're learning, you're growing. You're always you're not stagnant, you're always moving. And that's what people love to see, because that inspires people, right? People want to move forward, but they need to get that inspiration from other people. So just sharing kind of what you're doing, and naturally, I think that just made me become a lot more, confident on camera, and eventually I found what it is I'm really passionate with, and that's almost helping Gen Zers kind of put themselves out there more online. Don't be afraid to share your thoughts and ideas. But not only Gen Z too, a lot of people, even other generations, feel like that. It's something that still people are nervous.
They probably need it more.
They need it more,
than Gen Z.
Yeah, I think with Gen Z, they're a little bit more. They're they're already in it. They kind of they know what's up, but yeah.
You just have to get them.
Yeah, because it's
You just have to show them how much opportunity there is if they do it.
Because I feel a lot of companies too, they're so resistant. They focus so much on what they're solving, they forget about the marketing. The marketing is so important, and I feel content creation, like you said, with the content marketing is gonna be so huge. Social media is gonna be so huge. It's already huge.
Yeah, I think it'll with AI coming on the internet and just so much AI generated stuff on the internet, and they call it AI slop.
Oh yeah.
With all the stuff, I think people will look for authenticity, and also I think as AI disrupts our society, I think there will be an appetite for people finding meaning. Started an interesting concept a couple days ago from a YouTuber who's kind of an influencer in AI. He has an AI background, and he does AI consulting for businesses and etc. And he had the realization that as a YouTube, his primary job is now YouTube. He had a realization that he's now what he termed the meaning economy. So I thought that was very interesting. We used to have the creator economy.
There's a creator economy. That's what I don't know.
So I think that was the first version of it. I think this next version of it is it's gonna be pretty much continue to be a creator economy, but it's gonna evolve into something where it already was the meaning economy. And that also made me realize that marketing is actually a meaning generation job. You're generating meaning in marketing, whether it's the brand story or the product value or the product benefits. Either way, you're generating meaning. And the other part of it is, of course, marketing is also compliance professional. You're trying to get people to do things and say yes. But with the appetite for meaning that we're expecting to really take off, and it already is. I think it's going to be a very good environment for marketing professionals.
No, I agree. Yeah, I definitely agree. And I think that's the best way to actually explain marketing. Like whenever you're trying to explain what marketing is, yeah. Creating meaning and then compliance, and yeah. It's exciting. I mean, a lot of times like people say that like, with the future of jobs, like marketing is like if you're in like, if the economy is like almost down, like falling, like marketing jobs are the first to go. Because, with budget cuts, like, but I don't know if that's still like, yeah.
I think it's starting to change. From what I'm seeing, I think that is starting to change. People value the function a bit more. I don't think anyone articulated why, but I think, and it's interesting. Like these insights and these realizations you have, you just get them randomly. You watch a YouTube video, you talk to somebody else, you connect the dots, and they're like, wait a sec. What is marketing? It's actually a meaning creation job. And so if your friends and family ask you, what do? You can say, I create meaning.
Oh my God, yes, I can do that. I love that.
Historically, like this is like a common joke on LinkedIn. People ask me what do you do for work? They have a tough time explaining it. Or there's a lot of misconceptions that marketing is about, I don't know, getting the right colored balloons or whatever. Whereas if you said, hey, I create meaning, or I generate meaning, that's a very good way. I generate meaning and I get people to say yes.
Yeah. There's also different types of marketing too, right? So there's like some marketing like just involves like all the data analytics. Would that still be like, I guess that's still like, like generating meaning. Like that's still meaning. Because I mean, you're looking at.
Yeah, you can use the data to generate insights and meaning and stories. But I think in those cases it would be more on the getting more on the compliance side. So you're using the data to find out, find the right people and optimize their conversion.
Yes.
Right. So you're still a compliance profession. So for anyone looking to, because I think this is the way of the future. I think like if I could advise anyone on how to future-proof themselves in an AI era, I would definitely say start putting yourself out there like you have. And like you alluded to earlier, some people might not think they have anything to say, but everyone's unique. Everyone's unique and everyone has something that somebody else doesn't know, right? And just putting yourself out there helps to get that out. And that's what people value. In marketing, ideally you want your product or your service or your business to have a unique value proposition. You want to be different from everybody else. And what's interesting about people is that everyone can be different from everybody else because everyone's unique.
Yeah, and I'm touching a little bit about that, like with the book I recently finished, Show Your Work by Austin Clune. I think that's how you pronounce his last name. Pretty much that kind of like, if you are nervous to start sharing your work online, it's a really great book to read. It's super easy, super quick. You finish it in a day. Some points kind of that the author mentioned is, start by sharing something small every day, and then just like not waiting to be perfect, just like documenting whatever you're working on, and then also not being afraid. Like you don't have to be an expert to share something. Like actually, like be an amateur. I mean, yeah. Be open, be like vulnerable, because you don't have to be a know-it-all. Like people don't just say like talk about your mistakes, talk about things that you've learned, and also teaching people what you already know. A lot, sometimes you think, oh, I feel like why should I share this? This is like common sense, but it's common sense for you, but for other people it might not be. Right? Like, so everyone's like different. Everyone's in a different stage of life. So even though what you're sharing is it really well, someone might not know it as well. So any new info, any info is valuable, I feel like. And then, and also just so just remembering that it's about consistency too. Like if you don't get a lot of views or you don't get viral at the beginning, like that doesn't mean anything. Like it's all about putting in the work. And not if you're only doing you're gonna not only get opportunities, you're also gonna meet people through that, mentors, operators. So it's just have to keep doing it, and then also just working hard at the beginning to really showing other people that amount of work you're putting in, just because that is gonna compound, and it's just gonna get easier.
Actually made me just think about myself. I actually like social. You mentioned you don't have to be perfect. So a lot of people, the barrier is they think they have to be perfect. They think it has to be super polished, whatever they post. One of my friends back in Australia, His name is Axel. He's been a B2B marketer for a while, and he started a Australia-based marketing community called Generate. And that, by the way, I think is also a big part of the future, like in-person communities. He started this a couple of years ago, and he had a very good flagship event last year, and they're doing it again this year in August. I'm actually thinking of going to it. But when he posts on LinkedIn, everything is lowercase.
Oh my gosh, I love lowercase. Yes, lowercase is so.
Like, it looks like a mess. It looks like a mess, but his stuff stands out, and it looks authentic. You know, an AI did not write that.
And also, the dashes that AI, you
Yes.
use. So what I started doing is instead of doing so to make sure and people know I didn't use AI, I do just so there's the dash, but there's the two little dashes, right? So it's like a break, right? It's not the big dash, it's the small dashes, and you add two of them. I don't know if you can picture, but yeah, that's right.
Yeah, the M dashes are dead good.
Yeah, the dashes, yeah.
So for anybody who doesn't know, if you,
The small.
if you're gonna use AI, remove the long dashes if you don't want people to know you use AI. But what's funny is I know a few people who really use the long dash. I thought it was AI, and then they told me that no, that was not AI.
I know, right? Because actually sometimes it makes sense to use the dashes, but for it, yeah.
But so with me, I know I need to, and I actually want to very much, create content and share insights. But because I also like things to be super high quality, I hesitate and I save it for later. I'm like, okay, well, I have 5 minutes right now. I need more time to think about this, how to say this properly, how to, it's got to look good, blah, blah, blah. And then I end up not doing it. And then whatever cool idea or insight or experience I had.
It's so frustrating because a lot of people are like that. A lot of people are make multiple drafts and they're like, is this good? I actually have to switch it. No, just post. Don't overthink it. Just post it. Because the more you post, the more chances of something happening. And I guess for me, it's just never been, it's never been something I need, a hurdle I have to overcome. I just screw it, just post.
What keeps you consistent? Do you schedule in an hour a day to post stuff and create stuff, or is it just randomly whenever you have the idea?
Honestly, it's pretty much randomly whenever inspiration hits. The thing though is when you have an idea, you have to act on it very quickly, because if you have an idea and then you start thinking about it some more, then you're just never gonna do it. So if you have an idea and you're super passionate, excited about it, just do it literally right away. Do it the next day. That's what happened with the Shopify video. I had this idea right away and I was like, I'm just gonna do it. So that's what makes you stand out from someone who continues to. Everything also just comes from this passion too. If you love something, then you're just not you're gonna have the internal motivation. You're just gonna have that. You don't need external motivation. You'll have that inside you. You're gonna want to do it either way. So yeah, mine just comes. I'm always thinking about content. I'm always thinking about ways, things I could share. Maybe it came from not having a lot of friends in the past. I've always wanted to, share things with others, but I didn't think people would want to listen. So I turned to the online world to get my stories out there. And because I started at a young age, that just built that muscle. So now I always do it. And so a lot of it is inspiration and just bursts of excitement. I think it's passion.
When someone's excited about what they're sharing, you can tell it resonates better. So you said it's like a muscle. Interesting. Yeah, I think that's what it is. It's just you got to act on it quickly. Speed is everything in this AI world that we're getting into. And also social, being social, consistent on social helps you stay top of mind.
Mm-hmm.
That staying top of mind is and staying active on social. Career-wise, is kind of almost like career insurance.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You're keeping up the awareness of who you are, when you have to offer. You're engaging that audience, and you're top of mind, so that whoever's watching, when they need help with something, they remember you.
Percent. And another big thing why you shouldn't wait for the best, the perfect thing to post, is people also value watching you grow, the progress.
Yeah.
Oh wow, you see how people are improving. That is so inspiring. Seeing someone go from the scrappy video to improving over time. Mm-hmm. That is what people want. They want to see growth. They want to see improvement. And how do you do that? By always by updating people online.
Well, that like people improving, facing challenges, overcoming challenges, and growing. That's the movie industry and the TV show industry.
Yes, right?
That's billions of dollars of money that people pay for that. So there's demand for it.
Yes, there's demand. So really treat even like treat your, like sometimes I treat my life like a movie. Like, right? It's just treat your life like it's so, yeah, it's really fun. Like sometimes people say like, oh, like sometimes like some posts I have like are like dramatic. They're like, sometimes people have things to say about like, you make things so like overly edited, like, dramatic effects, but it's fun and yeah, there's like obviously a balance, but you show exactly people. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Salesforce actually a while ago they wanted to create a platform that allows businesses and individuals to like create shows and then stream them about themselves, their company, their businesses. They scrapped it, but that was an idea a few years ago.
That's so cool.
Yeah, yeah. But I think it's probably too early. In the next few years, I think that might become a thing. And what do you think are some benefits of? Because I think a lot of times startups need this reminder. Even big companies need a reminder on this. What are some things they can do to stay top of mind and also to maintain a certain level of energy in the way they're perceived?
Ooh, yeah, it's really good. I think, well, first of all, making sure you hire like a diverse group of people, lots of different ages. I think, we have different generations. All of us, we have like different things to share and so much like different values to bring. And also not being afraid to almost be open with people online. What Shopify does is they're always really open with not only their internal, with people internally, but also externally, like with their merchants and everything. Being on social media, not just promoting your services or promoting your product, but just being there for the people. You're not like a lot of companies, they just focus on like, advertisements and just like, here, check out my services and everything. I think you have to go beyond that. So you have to it's almost like advertise yourself subtly almost. It's the subtle, it's like, yeah, really focus on the people, and you have to really believe in your mission too. I think you really do have to believe in it, because if you believe in something, other people will also believe in with you. So that's where the authenticity comes from. Hiring people who truly enjoy and are really passionate with what they're doing.
Maybe ideally hiring people who would make, I guess would make interesting characters on your social media.
Yeah.
It's almost like putting a movie together, getting all the right actors in there, all the right pieces. But yeah, I think that's probably going to become a thing. Is that like myself, whatever company I'm working with, I want everybody there to be on social media. I want product people to be on there. I want engineers to be sharing. So like in my ideal world, like everyone at the company is active on social, like how it is at Shopify. They're all active on X, and yeah, they do seem to be very, very transparent in that. Like the CEO there, internal memo he shares publicly. I think you also alluded to whether you're a startup or a big company, an enterprise company, you want people to come along for the ride. You want people to feel like they're on the same boat with you, and they're going somewhere with you. You want to bring them along with the journey. And I think Shopify does that well. From what I can tell, merchants, they really feel like they're part of that Shopify community, culture, even brand. Like sometimes I've seen some LinkedIn profiles of like Shopify merchants where like their job title is the company they put is Shopify. They don't work for Shopify, but they put Shopify as their company.
Gosh, yeah, maybe that's why there's so many Yes, no, that's really great, and they're also like always like they're collaborating with they have creator spot on this team. They're always collaborating with so many different creators too, and I think they're very open with their audience and almost bringing them along the journey. I think that's really key. Yeah, key. Bringing people along your journey.
Whether you're an individual or a big enterprise company. Awesome. And I think you also have this approach of building in public. Can you explain that strategy? What what the benefits of it are that you've seen. And I think you also, I think you mentioned that book, Show Your Work,
Yes.
as well. So what does that mean for individuals and companies?
Yeah, so building a public is, a lot of the opportunities I've had the chance to get is just through posting my progress online. I think just not shying away to share any sort of progress I've made. And I kind of almost, there's like this analogy that I kind of want to share. It's like building a public is like sending a lighthouse signal. The right people find you because they see your light. Focusing on just pretty much just focusing on yourself, focusing on improving yourself, and then other people will see that. So don't just tell, like actually show. And that's why I think resumes, for example, are very much lacking. Like a lot of companies, they're like, we want self-starters, but resumes, they don't give that opportunity to show how you're a self-starter.
Yeah.
Other than like listing, your past experiences or like projects, but there's just so many resumes, there's so much noise. Like how are you gonna show, like how are you gonna stand out, right? So being a starter, showing that you almost like, how are you like, you are pretty much running your life is your own like startup, your own business. Like how can you show how much like success, what have you done in your life, what kind of impact have you made that can bring the value in whatever like company you want to apply to.
One example that I just remembered and I want to share is Atlassian. They're like actually one of Australia's biggest.
Oh yes.
biggest
Oh my
companies.
God, yes.
They're to Australia what Shopify is to Canada.
Really? Oh, I actually did want to. I was looking into like Australia companies. I was like, wow, yeah, because I wanted to move to Australia. I'm like,
Oh yeah, I lived in Australia for 5 years. I just moved back to Canada end of last year.
What made you want to move?
A long story. We'll save that for another podcast. It was not a choice though. It was a necessity. But now that I'm here, I'm happy North America has a lot going on, especially because I'm into AI, and there's a lot of AI action here in North America, especially in the Bay Area. But so Atlassian, they have this one of their marketing leaders, and I met her at a conference I went to. She was their head of like social and brand or something. I think she was like their head of brand or something. I don't remember exactly what her job title was, but what she did is she had this idea of, because Atlassian's customers and target persona are developers. It's mostly used for developers, and so Atlassian had their developers every time they would create a little feature or a little update, even if it was just fixing a bug, they will get their developers to go on social, do a video about the little update they just did or the little bug they just fixed.
Amazing. Yeah. Oh, that is what you gotta do. Yeah.
Yes.
And I think Shopify is also doing something similar too. They're always like launching new things. Like they recently launched like Sidekick, so like the AI like kind of Sidekick for like setting up websites. So yeah, that's actually I think that's like big things.
Yeah, and what that did is it allowed them to resonate with their target audience, because it's the same people, it's developers talking to developers, and also it allowed them to build community, build trust, engage their workforce. So like getting your workforce on social is also beneficial for them, because then they're having fun, they're having a good time, and it's rewarding for them. Might be hard to get into, but once they get the dopamine addiction to social, then they keep going. Actually, at one of my previous companies, I got the founders I really encouraged them to get on social, and they were reluctant. Most founders have been, but this was like 4 or 5 years ago. And I moved on. They're not doing other things, but they're still on social media, and they're more active than ever, because they saw the benefit they were getting out of it, and the value they were getting out of it, and also it's fun. It's nice to connect with people, nice to be appreciated.
It really, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like a lot of times, the people online, like sometimes, there's this tweet I saw recently, and there's like a lot of times your biggest supporters are those on the internet, like those are like a lot of the people that you don't know are like, people that hype you up. So yeah, it's nice to know.
I'm just shifting gears a bit right now. You're still in university, yeah?
Yeah.
Last year.
Yeah, last year.
The past year or so, for new grads, it's become very hard for them to find a job. This is a big societal problem. It's a big societal problem.
Yeah.
And probably will get worse with AI. But what would your advice be to recent grads? You're not a grad yet, but you're kind of in that same stage, whereas you have made it through, but a lot of new grads are really struggling to find jobs in the first place, but also find jobs that they're gonna like and be passionate about. So what would your advice be to them?
I think the first thing is well, first of all, really focus on making those connections. So stepping outside your comfort zone, going to events, taking as much, surrounding yourself with the people you want to be. Sometimes it can be hard to find a community of people that could like push you, but really trying to find a community of people that you aspire and you want to be like the next, someone similar. Because if you surround yourself with like people that you aspire towards, then you're going to become like that next person. I think also just to focus on finding what brings you the most joy in life. And I think because that's, you're going to be working for a big chunk of your life, and so you want to be doing something that you love. A lot of it just comes through experimenting and just trying to like put yourself out there. Like, yeah, I'm always gonna tell people to just post, share your work. I think also I think when you're applying to jobs, really stay away from cover letters and resumes. Find other creative ways to showcase yourself. So it could be through a video, or if I've mentioned this to people, like if you love developing apps or creating websites, do a little side project for a company, for startups or other companies, because you have to really show a company that you care about them, about what they're doing. And so creating a project that aligns with their mission and with their vision is really gonna make you stand out, and it's gonna show you that you actually work hard. You have to work hard. Sending resume cover letters is just it's easy. Everyone can do that. But if you take that extra step, create some sort of project for them, or create a slide deck with a pitch or some ideas, give them examples. I think that's the new way of applying.
I think you're right. And actually, I had somebody reach out to me on LinkedIn, and they wanted advice on how to find their next job. And one of the main things I told them: resumes are a waste of time.
Yeah.
It's funny. He's asking me, how does he find a job? And my answer is, stop applying.
Literally, stop applying. Yes, stop applying. Start building. That's what I was actually doing a workshop, presentation for a class, and that was my title: stop applying, start building. Which is crazy too, because in the past I was sending hundreds of resumes. I was applying to hundreds of jobs, thinking that quantity would show my effort. Heck no! This time I only applied to 4 jobs, or was it 3? And I put in a lot more effort into each application. The quality over quantity.
Nice. Well, we have a pretty wide audience. So for the younger folks, there's some fantastic advice that works actually really well. And also for the older crowd who have sons, daughters who are recent grads, this is also very, very good advice as well. Yeah. That's very helpful. It's a big societal problem right now, so it's good to offer some answers to that. So that's really nice. And, later today, actually, you're part of an event, and I'm also part of that same event. I'm moderating the panel. You're a panelist, and we're going to be talking about how to offer companies value that can be replaced, how to offer unique value that AI can replace, and how to stay in demand. And so you've touched on those 3 things already, but if you could summarize those 3 areas, for people in the job market, or for people who have steady jobs, but they're kind of worried about AI potentially taking their jobs, and they want to be indispensable. They want to be a valuable part of their team or their company. They want to offer value that AI can replace, and they want to stay in demand. So if you could sum up everything that you shared with us, and you shared a lot, what would be your advice to do those to hit those 3 bases?
First one would be just initiative over polished work. Just taking the initiative, taking the extra steps over trying to make something polished. Another one is to focus on things you love to talk about. Outside of work, what are your biggest hobbies? What are your biggest passions? How can you implement them into what you're doing at work? And it's also about momentum as well. I think just staying consistent. And the big thing that AI can't replace is like your life story. I mean, AI doesn't have a past or right?
Yeah.
Like it doesn't have a timeline, that progression. So really focus on you just like look at your life as an outsider and almost just kind of see what aspects of your life can you share. I think just focusing on not being afraid and not being always just being courageous, not following the crowd because you want the crowd to follow you. Like don't follow the crowd because you're gonna be lost in it. I think with AI too, a lot of people are just like, are like almost getting sucked into, ChatGPT, like all of that. But how can you not get sucked in, but how can you like actually work alongside AI and use it?
Basically double down on being human.
Double down on being human. So being more human?
Yeah.
Yes, being a little bit more. And that's where it's like, and that's why you have to start sharing more of your like vulnerabilities because that's human. That's human. Sharing your,
And you got to take the effort in putting it out there.
Right? Showing how you learned from all of those like mistakes or like lessons in the past.
I think pretty much everybody, we're in an age where if anybody wants to be relevant, they have to be on social media and they have to be active.
Yeah. You really just force yourself. Like, you might not like posting on TikTok, you might not like posting there, but you just gotta do it. You just gotta train yourself.
Yeah, well, your sort of generation is kind of has that by default, which is fantastic. Speaking of Gen Z, I suppose, or the future workforce that's coming up, what are you excited about over the next 5 years?
I'm really excited to see in what ways AI is going to keep improving and how the I guess the job market would look like because is it going to get better at some point? Also, like you mentioned, I don't know if we mentioned this in the podcast, but are there going to be more entrepreneurs? Are there going to be more like self-starters, more like, people creating their own brands? Are there going to be more like content creators too? Like I feel like whoever creates content, they're like pretty much content creator. Like, so are we gonna have more of those people, like people documenting everything? And it's also actually kind of scary too. Like social media has in so many ways like made just everything a little worse, like in terms of like making connections and relationships. So I feel like there's just more, there's more noise, more options, and like it's just.
That's an interesting point, but that's why I think in person will make a comeback and community will be a big thing. I think social will stay big, but it'll kind of merge with communities and in-person relationships. And what should companies know about your generation entering the workforce?
Low attention. We have really low attention span. Because, there's so much brain rot content on social media. That's why when it comes to, like, promoting things, like, how can you make it so it's not boring for everyone? I think we also have so much, like, energy and so much passion, and I think, sometimes some people think, oh, like, we're, like, so lazy, but I think if you really love something, like, you're gonna find ways to almost. Because I feel like, with school, a lot of people use AI and they have ChatGPT to do all their work and everything. But if you love something so much, you don't want to, just find easier way out. Like you want to learn it on your own. Why am I saying that? I guess more so just, more so give younger folks more creative freedom, more freedom to experiment.
Interesting. I think what you're suggesting is that Gen Z might be one of the most innovative, creative.
Oh my gosh, yes, like so much. At my University of Waterloo, there's so many amazing students. They're so smart. They're not just focused on their studies. They're focused on things outside. They're building like crazy stuff.
Wow.
And
they know AI, and they know social media.
Yeah. So really just give them a chance. Give the younger generation a chance.
Yeah. And it's what they need. They need people who know how to use AI, and they need people who know how to use social.
I feel like now too, like we're a lot more sensitive almost too, and we're a lot less. I feel like a lot of people now are less confident in themselves as well. So we just have to find ways to uplift everyone and just people. Let people let every generation know that you can do it. Like you have value to bring, and yeah.
From my perspective, especially having worked in predictive AI, predicting the workforce of the future, I think the future looks very bright for Gen Z. Because if they like passion, if they like being human, if they like creativity, and then knowing how to use AI, knowing how to use social, I think the future is looking very, very bright. Final takeaway, I guess your story was very powerful, and that, just to recap, Shopify doesn't hire social media interns. They don't want to hire without first proving that AI can do it, and you still got hired. So a lot of the advice that you given, that's just evidence that it's very powerful, and that anyone, whether they're a company, an individual, at whatever level, company might be a startup or an enterprise, individual might be a senior manager, director, or a VP, or a CMO, or a CEO, or they might be in their first earlier in their career, or they might be just entering the workforce. This is very, very good advice for all those people. So thank you for sharing your insights and your experience and your story. Lots more to talk about. This is a very fascinating conversation, a bit philosophical too, because especially the meaning part, where what makes humans unique is that they have a story, they have a journey, they have meaning. AI doesn't have that. And we already know there's billions of dollars going into meaning, and there's a demand for it.
Yeah.
So that was a very interesting insight. And then the fact that marketing is about generating meaning, and that was a very interesting insight as well. I actually drafted up a LinkedIn post right now, so I don't forget. Well, lots more to talk about. Very fascinating conversation. We have an event that we're going to be in to run off to. Thanks very much for coming on the podcast. It was a pleasure.
It was a pleasure. Thank you.